Somebody save me! Ha! Even in my dream, mathematics wants to kill me. Heshbon Academy again. Let me even see how they can help me. I must not allow math to deal with me like this. Ah, so this topic is not even hard like that?
Yes, exactly, Kola. All that you need is simple and precise explanation. Heshbon Academy offers you these explanations for free.
Thank God! Heshbon Academy is the final lead to excellence in my academics.
My dear friends, do not fear any subject, including mathematics. Seek to understand it, and Heshbon Academy makes it easy for you. Make sure to subscribe so that you would not miss any of our tutorials.
Hello everyone, this is Heshbon Academy, where brains are trained, minds are built. With mathematics, you can achieve so many things in your career. That's why we choose to make students get the concepts of mathematics, and then later we begin to apply. So if you don't have the concept, you might not be able to make any application to real life situation. So it's not only to know the concept, but you must be able to apply. But our scope will be limited to senior secondary school mathematics in order to help students all over Nigeria and beyond to prepare for external examinations like WAEC, NECO, including NAPTEP exams. If you follow lectures in this academy, I'm assuring you are going to get some concepts that will shoot you high in your career. So we're going to start with sequence and serials. So you might have been coming across sequence in primary school. I think when it comes to your quantitative reasoning, but we're going to pick it up from senior secondary school level. But if a set of numbers is arranged consecutively, that is following each other, and every member of that set is obtained, from the previous members by a certain rule. So we call the set of numbers a sequence. That's to say, if I have like numbers following each other, consecutive numbers, that is one after the other, and then it's possible that I get the next number from the first one following a certain rule, then we say that set of numbers are known as what? Sequence. And so each number in that sequence is what we call term. We call each of them term. And so with that, we can now say we have types of sequence. And this, the one type is arithmetic progression, or we call it linear sequence, or we call it linear sequence. So what makes it arithmetic progression is only when we have a number, the difference of the first number to the second number, or the third number to the fourth number is constant. And if it's constant, and this constant is common, that is the difference between the first term and the second term, or the third term and the fourth term, they are constant, and they are also what? The difference remains the same. For example, if you have 1, 3, 5, you will discover that this is a sequence of odd number, but there is a difference between the first term, which is 1, and the second term, which is 3. You will discover the difference between these two numbers, or these terms, are 2. But if you watch 3, the second term, and the third term, which is 5, you also discover that it has a common word, it has a difference, and the difference seems to be the same and is constant along the sequence. And so we can say that that type of sequence with other sequence too that has such difference and is the same, we say they are known as what? Linear sequence or arithmetic progression. And so, like I said before, that there are terms, each of the numbers in that sequence is known as what? Terms. And so the next thing we're going to talk about here is the end term of an AP. When we say the end term has its own formula, okay? And with this formula, you can find any missing term in a sequence. You can find any missing term or the value of any term in a sequence. And so that formula is known as T subscript n equals to a plus into n minus 1. You close your bracket, multiply by 1 by the common difference. So if you see the n subscript n equals to the number of that term, the n term, and then with a there is mean the first term, it can be called T subscript 1. And then we also have our n is the number of term in the sequence. And so we also have our d, which is the common difference. Discover that the coefficient of d is 1 less than the number of the terms. If n is 5, and so you will discover that the coefficient of d will always be what? Less than 1, that is to say 4d. That's something you must also note. And then let's start with example 1. In case you want to calculate or you are asked to find any of the terms in a sequence, even if that sequence is not listed, but there's still some information that can be given in the question, and that will help you to do what? To be able to get any term in a sequence. So let's look at this example. Example 1 is that the first and the last term of an AP are -3 and 145 respectively if the common difference is 4. The question says find A, 12th term, B, 25th term. You will see you are not given the sequence. So, but looking at it, they have given you some information that can help you. Number 1 is that they gave you the first term, which is -3, and we're given the last term, that is the end term, to be 145. Using the formula that we know, that is to say the formula to calculate the end term of an AP. So with that, we have our T subscript n equals to A plus n minus 1 close in the bracket times D. So our A already we know is the first term, which is -3. We can see the plus our n, we were not given. And so based on that, you have your n minus 1d. And so if you look closely, that n term is also equals to 145. And so which means that formula equals to 145. So which in turn will give us to the next step, you can say it is n minus 1 close bracket d. And then we'll push your -3 across equality sign, it becomes plus. So with that, we have our n minus 1 in a bracket d, and that's equals to 1. For 145 plus 3, that will give us 148. If the common difference equals 4, okay, so if the common difference equals 4, because in the question they gave us the common difference to be 4, so we substitute our d to be what? 4. So with that, we will have n minus 1 when our d, which is multiplying that, crosses equality sign, becomes division. So that will be 148 divided by 4, or you say 4, your n minus 1 times 4 over 4. You divide both sides by 4, it will still give you the same thing. So at the end, we have our n minus 1 equals to what? 148 divided by 4 will give us 37. And so if you push -1 from the left-hand side of the equation, to the right hand side of the equation is going to change to plus, because when minus crosses equality sign, it becomes plus. So we're going to have our n equals to 37 plus 1. So our answer will give us 38. Now when we've gotten our n, so we can be able to now find other terms where n equals to 12. Like in the B part of it, they said we should find the 12th term. And so with that 12th term we have, that is where n equals to 12, you can substitute minus 3 plus 12 minus 1. Our common difference already is 4. And so we have our 12th term to be equal to minus 3 plus 44. And that will give us what? 41. And so if we're looking for the 25th term also, you can see there our first term, that's minus 3 plus, and then we have our n to be 25 minus 1. Close your bracket, and that's multiplied by the common difference, which is 4. And so that will give us minus 3 plus 1. 25 minus 1 will give us 24 in a bracket times 4. And so 24 times 4 will give us 96, and that's equals to minus 3 plus 96. And so our answer is going to be 93. So that is just that for the n term of a sequence. You can solve as much question as you can using the formula that will really help you out. So now we quickly go to what is known as series. And somebody will say, what is even series? Series is just adding the terms in a sequence when you are adding it together. So when you're adding it together, that simple expression that you will obtain at the end of the addition is what we call series. Example is when you have 2 plus 6, that is in a sequence where you have 2, 6, 8, 10. And so if they ask you what is the series is going to give you what? 2 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10 plus so on and so forth. That you did is known as series. So look at it, you have sum of terms. The next thing now, when you are adding those terms, is also known as sum. You are adding some of the terms in an AP or a GP or in the sequence. So we have two formulas for calculating the sum of the n term of all the terms in a sequence in AP. So number one, these two formulas, there are conditions attached to them. And the conditions are, number one, when we have our S subscript n equals to n over 2, open a bracket, you have 2a plus n minus 1 in a bracket times d. Then you close the bigger bracket. This is only used when the sequence is infinite. That is, you have, for example, look at series, we have 2 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10 plus ... and so on and so forth. If you have to calculate the sum of this of the terms in that sequence, you are going to use this S subscript n equals to n over 2, a bigger bracket, open, you have 2a plus, you open another bracket, that is n minus 1, close that bracket, multiply by d and close your bigger bracket. The second formula we have again is when the last term in a given sequence is known. When you have the last term given in that sequence, then what you need to do is to use the second formula, which is our S subscript n equals to n over 2, open your bracket, and that's your first term plus your last term. You close the example 1. And it's the first and the last term of an AP are 21 and minus 47, respectively. If the sum of the series is given as minus 234, calculate the number of terms in the AP, that is A. B question, the common difference. C, the sum of the first 16th term. So let's look at the solution. Already, when you're given a question all you need to do is to bring out what is the values or what is given that will aid your getting the right solution. You write it down. What are you giving? Those information. In the question we have our A equals to 21, that's the first term, and our last term is equals to minus 47. So if we're to use any formula for the series, that is for the sum, already we are going to use the second formula, which is S subscript n equals to n over 2, open a bracket, A plus L, because our close the bracket, our last term is given. And so based on that, we now have, you substitute the value of A and your last term in the formula. Since we don't know n, in fact, it is what the first thing they said we should calculate for. So you're going to have your n over 2, open bracket, you have 21 plus, open bracket, minus 47, close the bracket and the bigger bracket. And so at the end, the next step you see it is going to give you n over 2, and that will be 21 minus 47 in a bracket equals to minus 234. So you multiply both sides by 2 to eliminate the 2 under the n. So you have your n, open a bracket, 21 minus 47, close bracket. And so what you have there will be 2 times minus 234. And so with that, that will give us minus 468. So we also have n, that is minus 26n equals to minus 468. So your n would be minus 468 over minus 26. So minus will cancel minus. So you have your n to be 468 divided by 26. And 26 will go in 468 18 times. So it means your n is equals to 18. And so to get the B part, they say you should calculate the common difference. Already we'll have the last term to give us what? To be minus 234. And so you use your formula, which is Tn equals to A plus n minus 1 times D. And this last term, is the value is minus 234. So with that you have 21 plus, that is your A, plus 18 minus 1, that's 17 times your D. And that's equals to minus 234. So we have 17D equals to minus 234 minus 21. And so the value that will give you is minus 255. So divide both sides by 17. So that will be minus 255 divided by 17. So our D equals to minus 15. So the question also says we should calculate the 16th term, the sum of 16th term. And so based on that, we already know that since we're given last time in the question, so we'll still use the same formula that says your Sn equals to n over 2 a plus L. So based on that, that will give us our n is 16 over 2. That will be 21 plus minus 47, close bracket. So 16 divided by 2 will give us 8. And then 21 minus 47 will give us minus 26. So our 8 times minus 26 will give us minus 206. So with that, we have done that. We're done with that example. So I'm going to give you questions on AP. Then we have, you will see the question there, question number 1 and question 1 to 4. So with that, if you can solve all this, then you are good to go on AP.